Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is the Empower Hour with Isabel Starck. I'm your host, Isabel. Nice to meet you. So, oh my gosh, I have actually really been looking forward to chatting with you guys this week because something came up pretty much right following our last episode. And what happened was I actually had a conversation with a dear friend of mine, and it was literally about half an hour, maybe an hour after the show was live. And she was actually listening to the show, and so we had this little talk. She's like, wow, look, you're calling. Anyhow, what really came up for me was I asked her, I said, it doesn't seem like I'm being myself on that show. And she said, from what I know of you, yeah, there's a little bit of stuff missing, a little bit of Isabelness kind of not appearing and not coming through on the podcast or live show. It's not a podcast. Anyhow, so I want to start today off with letting you know that I apologize. I apologize for holding back and not being myself completely and totally honest and just being my funny self and who it is that I am, because, you kind of think in your business you need to actually appear a certain way. And I have a little story about that. When I first started off in business, actually it wasn't my first job, it was probably my second, third or so. And I remember it was a big position, and I was about, early 20s. And I felt this need to look the part. I felt this need to be seen as not just an expert, but to be respected. I mean, I was quite young. I was going to be in charge of much older employees, and I really felt this desire to really look the part and show up a certain way. So I remember right after the interview and after I got the call that I gotten the job, that I ran out and I went shopping. I got all these suits that I can think of, and I really modeled myself after the woman who was interviewing me, the administrator for the practice. And it's just because, she just really showed up so professional. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to emulate her and show up how she was. And at the end of the day, I wasn't really me. I remember even putting on those suits and really feeling like, okay, kind of like the coat of armor thing, that I can do anything. But, that was the point where I started hiding a little bit, hiding of who I was. I do remember, going to work. Of course, everything's professional. My dad's always taught me, have a great work ethic and get it done. And, just, I talk about my dad and ethics a lot. So what I noticed, though, was when I would get home, I would crank up my music, number one, on the way home. So as soon as I would get in my car, really, I would get back to the real Isabel. And I would crank up my music, and I'd be singing all the way home in traffic. And, I'd get home, I'd blast the radio. And I love to kind of clean the house and dancing throughout. And on the weekends, I guess we'll go there. On the weekends, I was an original raver. Like, I loved going out dancing till the cows came home. The sun would rise and I'd still be out there, and I loved it. Music just had this effect on me that it really brought out the true me. I was raised in a family where music was all around us all the time. We have our cleaning music LPs that my siblings and I hold very dear. Now they're on MP3s. But so weekends I'd be dancing, going crazy, having lots of fun. And then Monday would come and I would have to go back to that, buttoned up suit. So that went on for years. It really did. It was kind of sad. I didn't realize that I was kind of killing my inner self. And when I guess what I'm getting at is when I got to the point of, number one, realizing it and starting kind of stepping out was, oh, I don't even know. It was years later. But how it happened was I went to an exercise class, and I remember watching the instructor and thinking to myself, oh my God, this woman, she's got it together. Like, I want to totally do this, and I can do this. You know, I'm a perfectionist, recovering, not so much, but I was the best student, and I thought, I'm going to do this. So within like months, I became an instructor myself, and I started teaching. And it was almost like that armor of, you know, that suit of armor that I would put on and go to work and be Miss Professional. It was like the headpiece that would come on, and I would just come out crazy as myself. Like, it was me. My husband would always make comments about, I'm going to lose my voice because I'm screaming at the top of my lungs and, you know, trying to get these people motivated. And that was like the real me. Like, I really just came out of my shell. And yeah, definitely putting on those headphones, it was just like, even from the hallway. Like, in the hallway, I was friendly, I was myself, but I'd put on those headphones and boom, there I was. So I loved it. And if you notice yourself doing any of what I'm talking about, hopefully you've noticed it already. If not, maybe ask the people that are closest to you, maybe people who know you at work and at home. But that really brings us to the whole topic about today, and it's really about being yourself in business. And being yourself in business would really mean just being you. Being you, being comfortable and okay with the fact that, you know, we make mistakes. You know, sometimes we got our little bags under our eyes, you know, stuff comes up. Like, we're human. We're not movie stars. Some of us are, and some of us strive to be. But, you know, when you are yourself, your tribe will follow. Like, they will actually find you when you just start being you, when you start saying the things that matter to you, when you start living the way that you're actually talking to people about. There's that saying, you know, do as I say, not as I do. Well, that's BS, man. Like, honestly, take that home, because if you can't live the part that you're actually telling people to live, or guiding them or showing them the way, you're not the right teacher. So, you know, be yourself. That's probably the biggest takeaway that I can give you from this whole little few minutes intro that I'm giving you is just really be yourself. Your tribe will follow. The clients will come. And you know what? The people who don't resonate with you, screw it. You don't want them anyways. Like, honestly, who would you rather work with? Somebody who's kind of putting up a front, or somebody who's like, yeah, I totally love what she does, how she talks, you know, the jokes she tells, how she dresses, whatever it is. You really want them to love you for you. And if you're putting up this persona and it's just really to attract the right kind of clients, well, they're not going to be the right kind of clients, because they're not really going to resonate with the interview. So that's for you. I do have a little bit of agenda. I have some questions that were asked. Just want to take a quick glance, if you don't mind. Just so you know, I'm actually in our family room, and I'm surrounded by all kinds of kids' toys. So I'm not going to take the camera down. Don't worry. So yeah, really about how you're being in your business. I wanted to make sure that we got that in there. So I apologize, right? I told you about how I was being. I hope that what it is that you're seeing, what it is that's attracting you to actually keep coming back and watching more, is something that I will continue to bring forth to you. And I am totally open to you telling me, hey, I loved it. Hey, I don't know where the heck you're going with that. I love to get feedback, because it's the only way that I can actually get better and really bring my tribe what it is that they want. So if there is anything that might be resonating with you, or any questions that you might have in particular, please reach out. Please private message, make a post on Facebook, whatever it is, find me and I'll be there for you. So, and that I totally mean from the bottom of my heart. That's what I think my life mission is here to do, to be, is to really be able to help people. Been doing a lot of work on that lately, and I just keep coming back to it. I've been doing it for years, decades really, and it's what really lights me up. I love seeing the people around me succeed. I love being able to see somebody up on stage that was never able to be up on stage because they had this fear, or maybe reaching out to a woman who they thought was totally out of their league, and in the end, seeing that they've gotten married. So that is what I'm meant here to do, is to really help support people and empower people to live their greatest dream. And now with the business coaching, it's really about turning all your gifts and your talents into a business that you can actually stay home and live the life that you really want. Because I know the life that I want, and my tribe is actually going to follow that as well. So let's start with some questions, shall we? Let's see, the first question we have is, I bought tons of programs to build my business, but I lose my motivation part way through and don't complete the course. How can I get the most out of my investment and get my business off the ground? Great question. I too have actually signed up for programs, some that are led by somebody, some that are just like information products and supposed to teach you how to build this and gain that. There is definitely a place for that, for sure. But it just really depends on where you're at in your business. If you're starting out, so your true question is, how can I get the most out of my investment and get my business off the ground? So how you can get the most out of your investment in this program is actually to do the work. So there's a reason that you were led to this program in particular. Maybe it was the instructor, maybe it was, the promise of, XXX. Whatever it is, you need to be able to implement and put into play what it is that you're being taught. Now, I've also done programs where I've fallen off the wagon. I get started, I'm all gung-ho, and, partway through, I'm just like, it's not resonating with me anymore. And what really needs to happen at that point is you really need to take a look at yourself and say, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I feeling this way? Is there some kind of blockage that maybe it's coming from the instructor, maybe it's coming from, just the fear of getting your business off the ground, the fear of maybe having to leave your job because that's the next step, and that security is something huge to give up. So, it's just really about spending a little bit of time with yourself and asking, why am I freezing? Why am I, falling off the wagon? And really try to reconnect with the fact that, you started that program, you purchased that program, you joined that program for a reason. And what was that reason? Like, were you going to earn $10,000 a month? Are you going to, run a marathon at the end? What is it about the program that you're in that really lit you up, that really drew you there in the first place? So once you've actually reflected on that a bit, then it's just really good to kind of reassess and say, okay, is this the program that's going to take me there to the limit? Or is it something that really is not in alignment with me anymore, and I just have to give it up? I've always been, most of the time, always and never is another thing for me. Most of the time, I see things through. And my best friends, my family, they'll be the ones to tell you that, typically I make a decision and I see it through to the bitter end, regardless of the time frame, regardless of, the obstacles that come up. But the ones that kind of halt me, there's a reason for that. It could be an internal reason. And I know I have to give myself the time to be able to take a look at that. So it's really up to you. You're only going to get out of your programs what it is that you are going to put into them. So if it's a training, and you can pull yourself together to actually finish it, then just do the work. Really just do the work. At the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, then at least you can say, I went through the program, and some tidbits and nuggets are actually going to stick in your subconscious mind, which might help you down the road. So it doesn't hurt to go through the whole program, see it through, and implement the strategies that you think are going to work in your business. And I think that's probably the best way that you can get full, your investment out, at least out of the program that you're in. And the other thing I'll say is, I don't know if you've ever considered private coaching, but there are, specific coaches for specific things. But even an athlete, if somebody just wants to play sports, okay, so I want to be a volleyball player. So you just join a team, and, you have a coach, and but there's, maybe about, how many people are on the team now? Like 10 to 12 as a backup B team. So if you want to join, you get on board. But if you want to take it to the next level, and you really want to maybe go to the Olympics, you need to hire a personal trainer, number one, so you can start exercising and building up the right muscles that you need. You need to probably hire a nutritionist to make sure that you're fueling your body properly. And then even a personal, coach, strategy coach, fitness, not just fitness, but actually specifically trained in volleyball coach to help you kind of hone your skills. So, think about that in whatever program it is that you've taken on. Is there a chance, or is there a way for you to get a one-on-one coach? Because what I've found in my experience is when you have one person who's actually holding you accountable to reaching your goals, then that's the time that you're going to see the most success. Now, of course, you need to put the effort in, and you need to actually do the work. Your coach doesn't do the work for you. So you have to be ready to do that. And, I implore you to kind of take a look at that. It does really help. I know it helped me. So hope that answers your question. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so this question is, how long does it take to go from nothing to launching your business? I love this question. Thanks for asking it. Only because I have been inundated on my newsfeed with all these, start your business in 30 days, 90 days. 90 days is probably the one that I see the most. But I know from experience that it takes a lot longer than 90 days. There's the exception, and then there's the rule. And you can definitely go into having a plan and building your business and thinking to yourself, oh yeah, I'm the exception. But if you just put all your eggs in that basket and really hope that you're going to be that 2% of people who can actually launch a business, a successful business within 30 days, it's very devastating when you don't accomplish it. So not that you should always look at the negative, but really consider yourself and the population as a whole as the rule. And the exception is kind of like the icing on the cake. So if you're able to implement everything it is in a program or one-on-one coaching, and to actually build your business, all your knowledge, putting it all together and actually getting it out there and launching, it's just so much more rewarding when you're plugging away and you have this idea that you're the rule, and then boom, you get smacked with all these clients, all these sales. And it's a lot of fun. Then at that point, it's about kind of gauging it and growing your business the proper way. So I hope that answers that question. Oh, no, the whole question was actually, how long does it take? So from my experience, again, depending on what your business is, it'll take anywhere from 6 to 12 months. And I'm sorry to tell you that. I mean, and that's really from the first point that you really start thinking about it and researching, and that you start kind of sitting with it a little bit, and you start letting it germinate and grow in your mind, in your gut, and in your real life. You know, you start talking to people about it. You start just submerging yourself within that kind of community. So again, it takes anywhere from 6 to 12 months. I'm sorry to tell you the truth, but that's the truth. And if you're the exception, woohoo, go for you. There are people who are out there that are exceptions. Not, I mean, it's awesome if you can be that, but just try not to get caught up in the fact that, you know, that you might be the exception and it needs to happen, because the last thing you want is to be devastated at the end of the day that you weren't able to accomplish what, you know, your neighbor was able to accomplish, or your girlfriend, because, you know, she did it in so many days and it took you so much longer. So I hope that helps answer your question there. And next we have, I'm at the point of hiring my first VA. How do I know who to choose? Okay, so most likely you're probably in a service-based business or working out of the home and looking for a personal assistant or a virtual assistant to get some of your exercises off your plate. Some of the mediocre ones would be, well, how do you know how to hire the right one? The first thing you would do is you actually assess what it is that you need help with. So, for example, all the aspects of your business would need to be written down and categorized in topics, so that you know, there's Facebook, there's financials, there's sales, there's website content. So you really need to take a look and assess what it is that you do during your business day. And once you've actually written all it out, you can take a quick glance at it and just kind of pick and choose the items that you love doing. So the things that are, something just actually came to mind. I'll get back to it in a bit. So, okay, I'm going to tell you now. For those of you who wanted to ask a question, I'm so sorry. I didn't mention to you how it is that you can actually answer or ask a question, and to raise your hand or type it in. First of all, if you are watching live through Google Hangouts, you will actually go to your screen, go to the upper right-hand corner, I believe, and you'll see the 9 squares. So the 9 Google squares you'll actually select and click on the app that says Q&A. For those of you watching the YouTube live stream, what you'll need to do is you'll need to select the box at the bottom that says, join the conversation. That opens up another window and takes you right into this Google Hangout screen. And again, just hover over the 9 squares, select the Q&A, and then there it is that you can actually ask a question. So sorry about that. I just completely forgot. I know I should be doing this a little bit more often because I've gotten some comments on that in the past. So anyhow, let's get back to your question, which was, need to regroup here, hiring your first VA and how do you know who to choose. So again, make an assessment, maybe circle the items that are really needed for you to do, or the ones that you enjoy and love doing. And then kind of take a look at the others and say what you can actually give up. Now, if you, at the end, you actually have a screen or a page that has everything circled because maybe you're a little micromanager, then you're going to have to break those into categories and say, what really needs your talent, your knowledge, what can you actually hand over? So say somebody that you love, okay? So that it doesn't feel like you're just giving it to anybody. Because you're not just giving it to anybody, you're giving it to somebody who's actually, committed to seeing you succeed. So that's what I would recommend doing. And then the next thing that I would suggest is if you belong to any groups, any societies, any communities out there, ask for referrals. Ask your colleagues if they have anybody who they have worked with in the past that they wouldn't mind sharing their information with. You may not need a VA for more than a couple hours a week or even a couple hours a month. Who knows? and it's not like you're going to be taking all their business away. So you shouldn't be afraid to ask for referrals. That's actually the best place to look. You'll probably, if you're on Facebook, you'll probably see tons of ads for, not just VAs, but anything and everything. This is like television now. So be wary of that, only because, unless you know the people. Anybody can have a Facebook ad, it's buying business. So go down the road first for referrals. The next thing I would probably look for is I would make a post in any groups that you belong to. So say you're in a mommy group, a mommy CEO group. I think it's called Mama CEO. Just ask in there, is anybody doing business, or does anybody have any comments? And for the most part, you'll see tons of people kind of chime in, whether from experience with people or people themselves who are doing this from home. A lot of mommies are actually doing this from home because it allows them the freedom to be able to stay home with their kids. So that would be a great place to look. And where else? If you actually have a page, like if you have a business page, just like I do on Facebook, you could actually throw out there, just make a post that you're actually looking to hire a virtual assistant because your business has grown so much, and you thought the first place to look might be in your fan base. There might be some people in there that have these skills, or at least know of somebody who they can refer you to. So those are 3 ideas, and hopefully that'll bring you the right VA. All right, going to the next question. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. So do you have any mantras you say? I do. And how do I put one together? Great question. I didn't really know what mantras were. I knew what praying was, and I knew about positive affirmations, but I didn't know about mantras until a couple years ago. And with mantras, the whole idea is obviously saying reaffirming thoughts and quotes to yourself to let them get to your subconscious mind. So the best formula that I've actually found for creating a mantra is in the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I believe it's in chapter 2 where he outlines how to create a mantra. Most of it, in his book is actually is tied in with how much money you want to make, your money mantra. And it's a very, very simple equation. So I'll give you like an example. So the example of a money mantra is by the end of May 31st, 2015, I am going to receive X amount of money. So say $10,000, $15,000. In exchange for my services as a whatever it is that you do. That money will come to me from the sale of, and then you basically get the total amount and break it down into what you need to sell to actually achieve that. And that's it. That's really, really it. Now, once you actually have that mantra, you should write it out. You should say it over and over and over and over until you get it pretty much in the back of your mind. It's basically memory. And it should, to help you to really get stored into your subconscious mind to where you're actually starting to create it, would be to say it at least once before going to bed. And at the beginning, it could be written on a little card. I remember, oh my gosh, now I think about it, I guess I did know about mantras many more years ago. I just didn't know that's what they were. A sales manager that I had over 10 years ago, he had a mantra. And I remember his mantra was tied to a position that he wanted to get. So he always told us a story about his business card for a company that he started to work with, and it said sales representative, blah, blah, blah. And he said that what he did was he actually crossed out sales representative and he put in there VP of sales. So every morning when he would go to his desk or not to his desk, but to his armoire or so, and get his watch out and, you know, put on his watch for the day, he would look at that card and he would see himself and he would say out loud his name, VP of sales, every day. And every night he'd take his watch off, he'd see that card, say the same thing. So that is what I would recommend for money. Any kind of mantras that anything that you want to manifest, is use that formula from Think and Grow Rich. It's a great formula. And then say it at night and say it in the morning. You don't have to say it throughout the day like 50 times. You know, this whole mindless, it's almost like that mindless praying, right? Like you're not even saying, knowing what you're saying, you're just going. Not that it's not going to help, but you know, you really got to get the feeling behind it. You can't just be saying, oh yeah, I want this, and this is why, and this is what I'm going to do. And if there's no feeling behind it, it doesn't get energized. Your body, your subconscious can actually feel if you really, really, really desire to have what it is that you're asking for and what it is that you already believe that is coming to you. So it's about putting the feeling behind there. It's about being diligent and saying it daytime or at waking and when you go to bed. So it's the last thing that you hear and it's the first thing that you hear when you wake up. And even saying it out loud. Now, for myself, you know, sleeping next to my husband and saying these things out loud is a little bit weird. So, you know, you can find your place where you could say it. Showers, I've told you guys before, I love showers. And that's where I do a lot of my thinking and my best ideas come. And maybe that can be a place where you can do it, and then you can do it out loud. So that's for you. Let's see. I'm going to take a look here at the chat box and see if there were any questions asked. Sorry if I've been talking weird. I actually have quite a story here. My son decided to headbutt me. Lots of fun. Let's see. So if anybody had a question. Great. All right. Well, I mentioned in the post for this Empower Hour that there was going to be a little change to the way the show was going to be run. And I even started off this show today with telling you, you know, apologizing for kind of holding myself back a little bit and not being totally myself. Because I just, you know, everybody wants to put their best foot forward, of course. You know, we all do. But one of the other things I realized was, who in the hell stays around for a full hour of a video of somebody talking? Who has a freaking hour to sit and listen and watch? I know that I necessarily don't. I mean, for the most part, I don't mind listening to something while my hands are free and I can be working or doing something else, being busy. But time is, you know, it's our most precious commodity. And I am so thankful that you've actually chosen to spend some time with me. But what I also realize is I need to actually be respectful of your time and know that you know, we don't necessarily have a full hour to get through things. So I know this is called the Empower Hour with Isabel Starck. But what I've been thinking is, you know, it's the Empower Hour in 30 minutes or less. Because we can condense it down, answer all your questions that are needed, and then next week we can hit it again. So I hope that you are happy with that. It just kind of came to me, again, after the conversation I had with my friend, being yourself, and then just taking a look at the time and how long this is taking for everybody to actually sit and watch and be interactive. So I wanted to respect that as well. So anyhow, if there are no questions, let me quickly take a look. Again, if you did want to ask a question, just hover over the 9 squares, select the Q&A app, type in the question, and we can get it taken care of before we sign out. And let's see. Here, there. All right. Well, it looks like we are going to be calling it an hour and half an hour. Actually, 35 minutes, not totally half an But I really thank you. I really just am so grateful for the time that you have spent with us, that you've actually showed up for the 3rd episode of the Empower Hour with Isabel Starck. And I really look forward to actually seeing you in our Facebook group, on my business page, and just get to asking any questions that you might have, because I'm here to help you. Like, this show is really about you. It's not about, all my experiences and whatnot. No, I mean, I can definitely give you my feedback, but it's for you. So if you have something that you're working on or struggling with, again, even the questions can be sent in anonymously. I'm happy to keep your name private. So please do share what it is that you want to know, how you found the episodes, and have this be all about you, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. Again, thank you very much. I really look forward to seeing you guys next week at my show. Oh, let me give you the details to connect. So first of all, my website, which is being built right now by the lovely Jessica Torp. The website is www.isabelstarck.com, just as my name says right here below. And the next is our Fiercely Feminine Entrepreneur group in Facebook, which is hosting live events worldwide. Our next one's coming up on May 30th. So if you're in Toronto or Singapore or Brisbane or countless other cities across the world, we'd love to see you live and connect. So please have a look at our Facebook page and join the event. We'd love to have you. And yeah, I'm also on Facebook. So Isabel, facebook.com/Isabel Starck. And that's about it for now. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Empower Hour. I thank you again for your time, and I hope you have a great week. Ta-ta!